Net neutrality. It sounds boring, right? Like some technical jargon that only geeks and policy wonks care about. But what if I told you that net neutrality is the very thing that keeps the internet the way you love it? Open, free, and fair. Like something your dad would rant about after his third beer. You know, when he gets all philosophical about the good old days of the internet. But trust me, this is important. Imagine a world where your internet service provider, ISP, could decide which websites you can access quickly and which ones take forever to load. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Net neutrality is the principle that all data on the internet should be treated equally. No favoritism, no fast lanes. It's like the golden rule of the internet. Treat others' data as you would want your own to be treated. Just pure, unadulterated information superhighway. Imagine driving on a highway where everyone has the same speed limit. No one gets to zoom past you just because they paid extra. Think of it like this. Imagine if your cable company could decide which TV channels load faster. Love cat videos? Or maybe you're into indie films or niche documentaries. Too bad, the cat channel now buffers endlessly. And that indie film, forget about it. But hey, the mainstream blockbuster channel is lightning fast. But hey, watch some golf and you'll be fine. Not that there's anything wrong with golf, but shouldn't you get to choose what you watch without interference? That's essentially what happens without net neutrality. ISPs could prioritize their own content or the content of those who pay them more, leaving the rest of us in the slow lane. Net neutrality keeps the internet open and fair for everyone. It ensures that whether you're a big corporation or a small-time blogger, you have the same access to the audience. It allows small businesses to compete with giants. Imagine a world where a startup could never get off the ground because their website takes too long to load compared to a big corporation site. It lets us access information freely without interference. Sounds pretty great, right? You can read articles, watch videos, and connect with people without worrying about your ISP playing favorites? Well, buckle up, because it's about to get bumpy. The fight for net neutrality is ongoing, and it's up to us to stay informed and advocate for an open internet. So next time you hear someone talking about net neutrality, remember, it's not just tech jargon, it's the key to keeping the internet the way we love it. Imagine a world without net neutrality. Big companies flush with cash could pay internet service providers, ISPs, for priority access. Their websites would load lightning fast, startups and small businesses, stuck in the slow lane, struggling to be seen. Without net neutrality, the internet becomes less about innovation and more about who can pay to play. It stifles competition, limits consumer choice, and ultimately hurts everyone. Except, of course, the giant corporations and the ISPs who get to laugh all the way to the bank. Remember those fast lanes we talked about? They're not just hypothetical. Without net neutrality, ISPs can create paid prioritization schemes. This means they can prioritize traffic from companies willing to pay extra, while relegating others to slower speeds. Imagine a world where Netflix streams flawlessly, but your favorite independent film platform buffers endlessly because they couldn't afford the fast lane fee. That's the internet without net neutrality. A playground for the rich and powerful, where everyone else is left behind. This isn't just bad for consumers, it stifles innovation. Startups and small businesses, the lifeblood of the internet, would struggle to compete. The internet, once a platform for limitless potential, becomes a closed system controlled by a select few. Section 4. A history of dirty tricks. ISPs versus net neutrality. The battle between internet service providers, ISPs, and net neutrality has been a long and contentious one, filled with numerous instances of ISPs engaging in questionable practices to maintain their dominance and maximize their profits. This chapter delves into some of the most notorious examples of these dirty tricks, shedding light on the lengths to which ISPs will go to stifle competition and control the internet. Think ISPs wouldn't stoop so low? Think again. Over the years, ISPs have repeatedly demonstrated their willingness to engage in anti-competitive behavior, often at the expense of consumers and innovation. From blocking services to throttling traffic, their tactics have been both varied and insidious. They have a long and storied history of anti-competitive behavior. For instance, in the early 2000s, several ISPs were caught engaging in practices that blatantly violated the principles of net neutrality. These actions not only harmed consumers, but also stifled innovation and competition in the tech industry. In 2005, the FCC found that Madison River Telecom, a North Carolina ISP, blocked a VoIP service that competed with their own offerings. This was a clear attempt to stifle competition and maintain their monopoly over voice communication services. The FCC intervened, but this was just the tip of the iceberg. Then there's Comcast, everyone's favorite internet overlord. Comcast has been at the center of numerous controversies over the years, often involving their attempts to control and manipulate internet traffic to their advantage. In 2008, they were caught throttling or slowing down BitTorrent traffic, a popular file-sharing protocol. This wasn't just a one-time incident. It was part of a broader strategy to limit the effectiveness of services that competed with their own offerings. They claimed it was to manage network congestion, but conveniently, it also stifled a competitor to their own on-demand video services. This kind of behavior highlights the inherent conflict of interest that arises when ISPs are allowed to control the flow of internet traffic. These are just a few examples in a long line of ISP shenanigans. Over the years, ISPs have employed a variety of tactics to maintain their dominance and maximize their profits, often at the expense of consumers and innovation. From blocking services to throttling traffic, their actions have consistently undermined the principles of net neutrality. Without strong net neutrality rules, these companies have free rein to manipulate the internet for their own profit, leaving consumers and innovation in the dust. The fight for net neutrality is not just about ensuring a fair and open internet, it's about protecting the very foundation of innovation and competition in the digital age. As we move forward, it's crucial to remain vigilant and hold ISPs accountable for their actions, ensuring that the internet remains a level playing field for all. Section 5. Centralized control, centralized vulnerability. In this section, we delve into the intricate web of control and the inherent risks that come with it. Here in the US of A, we love to talk about freedom. It's a core value, something we hold dear and celebrate with great enthusiasm. From the fireworks on the 4th of July to the diverse tapestry of people who call this country home, freedom is our anthem. But when it comes to the internet, we've handed a ton of power to a handful of companies. These tech giants, with their sprawling campuses and influential boardrooms, have become the gatekeepers of our digital lives. Every click, every search, every interaction is funneled through their servers. This centralized control makes the internet vulnerable to censorship, surveillance, and outages. Imagine a world where a single breach can expose millions of users, where a server failure can disrupt global communications, and where a few keystrokes can silence dissenting voices. Remember that time when a bunch of baby monitors and security cameras accidentally took down a huge chunk of the internet? It sounds like a plot from a sci-fi movie, but it was all too real. That was the Dyn attack of 2016. And it exposed a major flaw in our centralized internet infrastructure. A coordinated attack on these seemingly innocuous devices led to widespread disruption, highlighting just how fragile our interconnected world can be. When the internet is controlled by a few centralized entities, a single point of failure can bring down the whole damn thing. It's like a row of dominoes. Knock one over, and the rest follow. This vulnerability is a ticking time bomb, waiting for the right moment to explode. And let's not forget about the potential for censorship and surveillance. In a world where data is the new oil, those who control the data wield immense power. They can monitor our movements, track our habits, and even predict our future actions. Do we really want a handful of corporations deciding what we can and cannot see online? The internet was supposed to be a bastion of free expression, a place where ideas could flow freely. But with centralized control, that vision is at risk. We must ask ourselves, is this the future we want? A future where our digital lives are dictated by a select few, where our freedom to explore, learn, and communicate is curtailed by corporate interests? The time to act is now, to push for a more decentralized, resilient, and open internet, one that truly embodies the spirit of freedom we hold so dear.